Welcome to another MSI Hit List. Glad you're here, everyone. Rich Wildman on this end. Introduce yourself in the chat room if you're already there. If not, please join us in the chat room. We're live every second Wednesday of the month for the Hit List. And you can find us on our live page at musicsceneinvestigation.com at 4:30 p.m. Central, 5:30 p.m. Eastern, and 10:30 p.m. GMT, if I'm not mistaken. And of course, on Sundays, you can tune in for our regular Music Scene Investigation broadcast at 4 p.m. Eastern, 9 p.m. GMT. And that's how everybody gets to the hit list. You can't get to the hit list without going through the MSI labs, and that's where you make the song of the week. We're going to find out now who's going to be the band of the month for the month of January of 2014. And it's going to be a really good time, so I'm glad you're with us. I've got a full panel here with us today as well. Let's go around and bring everybody in as we get things started today. Over to New York City first with Mr. Tom Chianti. Tom, hello, sir. How are you?
Good evening, good afternoon, good day to all, and we are preparing for yet another blast of about 8 inches of snow that's supposed to accumulate within the next day or so.
8 inches isn't bad, though, is it?
It all depends how you take it.
Now, in New York, I guess I should ask, because here in central, the Central Plains, where I'm at in the middle of corn country, 8 inches is not something that's out of the ordinary during the winter time. Is snow something you guys don't get in New York very much?
Well, this brings me to the whole global warming thing. And I have an interesting theory, if I may preponderance you with it. These winters remind me of the winters I had growing up. Lots of snow,
In
lots
fact,
of time.
There was a gentleman on one of the weather channels who said this is the kind of weather patterns we had back in the 1970s.
So we're going along with the global warming. I'm figuring it's in reverse finally. We have lessened our footprint.
We fixed it.
Well, no, we haven't fixed it, but we have made an impact. So now, instead of getting, the trend onward of ice melting and irregular weather patterns, it's returning to the 1950s, 1960s. Hopefully this means in another 20 years, we'll get back even further, and global warming will then just be called global warming.
They'll just call it summer.
Yeah.
All right.
But it just strikes me that this, I remember growing up, snow taller than my head.
Yeah, well,
and,
it's the way it is.
Yeah, it's a normal winter, what I remember. And I feel sad for the children in the interim that missed all the white Christmases and the extra snow days and stuff. But it's here, we're dealing, and we're just glad that the sky is still not falling.
It won't fall. I promise you that. Now,
Okay,
let's go over to London, England, meet Mr. Ian Husbands, who's barely keeping his head above water. I know you're getting some flooding in the area, right, Ian?
Yeah, it's wet over here in England. Wet and grey with the occasional sunny patch when all the rain exhausts itself and lets a bit of sun through. But for the most part, it's a lot of water.
So
under the bridge?
I was going to say, I read a story.
Under everywhere.
I read a story someplace that said that the Thames, as it goes through London, is about to break out of its banks or whatever.
The Thames, you mean?
The Thames, whatever.
The Thames. Yeah,
I worked with
Thames.
a guy named Thames, so never mind. Go
Yeah,
ahead.
well, you see, what you've got is a situation of it's more the problem with groundwater. We've had so much rain that there's no more rain can soak into the ground, so the groundwater level's coming up.
Now, if that were
the
true,
Thames is normally about 3 weeks behind other places to flood because it waits for that groundwater to collect, and that's when it floods.
Yeah, but if that were true, California would no longer have a drought, because if the earth gets soaked to where it can no longer hold water, that means that water should seep through to the other side, and the deserts would no longer be deserts.
Doesn't work like that. There's a saturation point.
Ah, so you're saying that the earth is solid at some point.
Yes, that we have layers of granite and other such stuff.
Gotcha.
But since, Ian is the amazing Flash, he can just run across the water.
But it's a strange one, because I live in West London, and, you watch the news and the flooding always happens up north or down south. And now in my little hometown of West Drayton, we've actually got flood warnings.
I saw that the other day, that you had flood warnings out for where you're at.
Yeah, not severe, but flood warnings. There's a river called the Frey and a river called the Colne, which kind of sort of meet that way somewhere. Not that you can really see, but we always used to rehearse in a studio next to the Frey. The Frey's got a habit of flooding anyway. You used to go into the rehearsal studio, park your car, go in, do your rehearsal, and you'd open the door on the way out, and your car would be sat in a foot of water.
It's better than 10 feet of water, I suppose. So
indeed, it is.
Well, I'm glad you're doing all right.
Unusual, but we're still here.
I'm glad you're doing all right. I'm glad you're not totally underwater or anything like that. And as always, it's good to have you with us. Our guest panelist today, as every month, he joins us all the way from the Live to Play Network. He's in upstate New York, not New York City like Tom, but in the New York that's scenic and pretty to look at. Yeah, I'm saying New York isn't pretty to look at, Tom. I'm honest.
Neither am I, so you can tell the two go together.
There you go. At least you're honest. From upstate New York with the Live to Play Network, Mr. Robert Lindquist. Bob, hey, welcome back.
Thank you, Rich. It's always great to be here, and much like Tom, any excuse to put on some headphones to keep my ears warm is certainly a good excuse, and being part of the show today is the only excuse I needed to do that. So.
Well, we're glad you're with us. Let's talk a little bit about the weather up where you're at, since we already hit New York City and found out they're expecting 8 inches of snow. I would assume you guys are pretty much the same.
It's interesting. This area of the state, for some reason, doesn't quite get the snow as heavily as the western New York and down around Tom and up into the Adirondacks and the Syracuse area. But we've had quite a bit this year. We've got, over the last weekend, I think we got about a little over a foot, and there's supposed to be some more coming. Mostly this year for us, it's been, as Tom mentioned, just really cold. In fact, this is the first year that the Finger Lakes out here have actually frozen over end to end since 1981.
Yeah, they're talking about the Great Lakes going through the same process. I read Lake Superior. They're expecting it to freeze completely over.
That's amazing, isn't it? A lake that sized. I think it's it's not going to thaw out until what, June?
I don't know. They said the last time it happened was in 1978, I think is what it was.
Yeah, it's been nasty. I mean, we've had pretty much consistent sub-zero temperatures here, almost week in and week out. So aside from that, I don't mind the cold as long as the wind doesn't kick up. But when the wind kicks up and it's 10 below, it's just, you don't want to go anywhere.
Oh, it's like knives going through your lungs.
It is. Yep.
Well, we're glad you're with us today, Bob. Now, I know that you guys over at the Live to Play Network have been keeping pretty busy. You just had the Winter NAMM show down in Anaheim.
That's correct.
I think we talked a little bit about that last time you were with us, but let's talk about it a little bit more now that you've had a chance to settle back into the routine. And I want to get your opinion on some of the stuff that you saw there. I think last time we talked about some of the things that you liked the most. Did you see anything that you really thought, well, wow, why, or something like that?
Well, actually, I guess, let me see. The show was 4 weeks ago, so I guess that would have been right. I guess we headed out there right after our last MSI show. So I probably was just talking about some of the pre-press releases that we had received. Several things really that I really enjoyed. That's making NAMM more and more interesting each year is how a lot of these companies are marketing what they're bringing to the show and what they're doing to get attention. And one of the things that was really kind of everybody got a kick out of this year was Personas had taken your typical pharmacy type prescription bottle, the little orange bottle with the white top that says push down and turn on it. And one of the running jokes at NAMM every year for anyone that's ever been there or intends to go there is so many people, because you've got so many people coming from all points of the globe, that it's very common for a lot of people to go home and the week you get back, you end up sick with what is affectionately known as Namthrax. So, so Personas actually had run on that, and they had come out with this little pill bottle of Anaheimlich 250 milligrams Namthrax vaccine. And it's got all the instructions on it. It looks just like a regular pharmaceutical thing. But the thing's on the side, it's really funny. Medication may impair your judgment regarding the value of motorized faders. If you plan to become pregnant, you came to the right trade show again. Do not consume alcohol. Do not consume alcohol before texting your ex from your hotel room. She's gone. And then on the bottom, it just says, shake well. And congrats, you're now a percussionist. So I've got a picture of that up on the Live to Play site if anybody wants to see it. If you go to l2pnet.com, I've got a picture of that up there. So that was one of the things I thought was really cute, was how some of these companies are doing whatever they can do to get people to stop by the booth. And that was a real winner for Personas. And they always seem to be able to come up with some clever new ideas to get people's attention.
Now, musically, because it is NAMM, I mean, we got to talk about some of the things from a musical perspective as well. So why don't you tell us about some of the more interesting things, I guess, first.
Okay, well, and we could start with, I don't like to ignore guitar players and keyboardists and drummers and brass players, because a lot of times we get to talking about pro audio things and we kind of forget about them. But Jake Kelly, one of our longtime contributors, really did a fantastic job this year, along with Tim Hemingway, of checking out a lot of guitar-based, based products, a lot of new instruments, keyboards, and we've got a lot of those posted on the website on Live to Play and Live to Play Worship. And I would definitely send anybody over to take a look at that. Jake did a great job of just finding all kinds of things, and Tim did a wonderful video that he's posted with his post as well. A couple of other things. We've got a blog post up here from Ronnie North. Ronnie is a very well-known guitar player who, session player, and of course was played live with a lot of bands. And he did a blog for us on what it was like to be a headliner for one of the after show events at NAMM. That's pretty interesting. I like that. And let me see what else. I'm kind of taking a look down our front page right here just so I don't forget anything. But those were some of the big things.
Bob, as far as guitarists, MIDI controllers, anything new in that?
I didn't see anything, but you might find something in there. And if you'd like, I can certainly send you Tim or Jake's email address, and they'd be more than happy to let you know what they saw, Tom. That would be a pleasure to do that for you.
Oh, thank you. Of course.
All right. Now, how about some of the things that made you go, strange things?
The one thing that nobody could walk past was, and there was, there's Hall E, which is always the last hall that people get to at NAMM. It's a floor down from the main floors, and it tends to be where a lot of the new companies end up, as well as a lot of the import companies and companies that just sell things that don't really fit on the main floor. There's always a few lumber yards that show up there that specialize in hardwoods for making guitar bodies and things like that. But this one company, I think it was Roots Audio, had shown up, and he had this retro mixer that a retro designed mixer. It complete with the lighted VU meters and the big black knobs and the whole thing. It was just one of the coolest things that I think I saw at the show. And everybody that walked by that thought that was a very cool thing too, especially if you
looked like an old Gates board out of a
exactly. It had that look and feel to it. Looked like it was, instead of being stamped out on an assembly line. It was, handmade and hand put together. And I've got a couple of pictures of that up on the site too. That was to me was one of the coolest things. For keyboard players, we saw one thing called a piano arc, where it was basically just a keyboard that was in a complete circle, and you played it by ducking under it and coming up in the center. And
it's shaped like a drum, yeah.
Yep. So that was kind of something a little bit different to see as well.
Well, that would have been interesting. Now, I did go through and look at a lot of the videos that were available on YouTube for NAMM this year. I saw the ARC. It was interesting. I don't know how practical it would be on stage, but it was interesting.
Well, again, it's one of those things that a lot of times a company will bring just so that they can get noticed. So that they've got other products there. It gives people, as they walk by, they see that, and it gives them some notice.
Well, that would get you noticed, that's for sure. I don't know if Devo would have played it, but still, it's interesting. Now, I did see some interesting audio devices, FireWire USB devices. It looks like there are a lot of companies still putting out a huge number of these things. Did you happen to see any of those this time around?
That's interesting, Rich. You should mention that because, as I reported, I think after the NAMM show, I guess it was actually 2012, was the year that a lot of companies showed up with these new devices that use the iPad or the iPhone as an interface. And it's amazing that in just 2 years, now that has just that's just everywhere. And you walk up and talk to somebody and they'll say, well, and you can also control it remotely with an iPad. And it's like, yeah. Big deal.
It's old hat.
Like that.
It's old hat now. So that's kind of interesting how fast the technology is changing, that what was really a big accomplishment a couple of years ago is now just expected.
Do you think that has to do with people finally figuring out, or maybe just figuring out, that it's maybe not nearly as convenient to work on a touch screen as it is to work with real knobs and faders, even though you can listen from anywhere? Still having those knobs and faders are, tactilely important.
Well, I would say that, but I know a lot of the younger people coming up really don't even have that frame of reference. So, they're very used to using the touch screens. The Mackie came out with one of the first mixers a couple of years ago that uses the iPad.
Yeah, the 1608.
Right, the 1608. And now this year QSC came out with one. And with theirs, you don't need to use an iPad. It has a touch screen. It's already built into it. And you can use your iPad as a remote control if you want. But the mixer itself already has a built-in touch screen.
Now that is interesting.
Soundcraft has put a line out of mixers that actually give you a space to place your iPad on.
And that's what the 1608 is. It will allow you to utilize your iPad. You can connect it to it or use it wirelessly. And I'm sure, the Soundcraft one is similar, but one with a built-in touchscreen on it and the capability of interfacing with the iPad. That's an interesting thought, I suppose.
Yep. And another, as far as we're talking about pro audio, Yamaha has updated their MG series of mixers. The MG mixers have been around for, quite a while, and they have done a complete revamp on those, really enhanced a lot of the features. So anybody that's looking for that mid-level mixer line, the MG series from Yamaha is good, and also the VLZ series from Mackie. There's another analog name that's come back. So I think you're right, Rich. We're starting to see kind of some of these more and more of these analog mixers coming back, being updated and being re-released.
Yeah, I know. I'm actually happy about that. I mean, I've tried the DL 1608. It's not a bad mixer. I mean, it sounds great, and what they have built into it is really handy. They have the compressors and EQ, the whole 9 yards built into it, limiters and so forth and so on. But, having that tactile sense, of the faders in front of you and things like that you can actually work with, and actually work with much quicker than, being able to hit the right spot on a touchscreen sometimes is kind of nice.
Well, I think I mentioned a couple of years ago, I did a review on that Mackie 1608, and
Yep.
it was an extremely cold day. And what happened was, as I got into the day, my fingers got so cold that the iPad stopped responding.
Yeah, that's true. I mean, I can see that happening with the way the iPad's touchscreen works. If you don't have any oils on your skin, there's nothing to register.
Right, and that's what happened. So it was that was a little bit disconcerting. All of a sudden, not being able to really do anything with the mix. I could run my finger any place I wanted on the iPad, and nothing happened.
So what's next for the Live to Play Network and Sound Pro Live and Live to Play Worship? What do you guys got going on next coming up?
Personally, and this of course is related to all three of those networks as well. I've got the great honor of going to China next week. Wow. To take a look at the new factory that's being constructed by the music group, which is Behringer, Midas, and several other names. And wouldn't you know, they would escape me right now. But that's really a company that's growing quite rapidly, and their X32 mixer has become so popular, and that they are building this new facility, and they've invited a few of us press folks to come over and spend a couple of days, take a look at it, and take us out to dinner, a little wine and dining, and then I'll be back. So it's a 15-hour ride over, a 15-hour ride back, and I'm there for, 3 days.
Wow.
Should be fun, though. I'm really looking forward to it.
See, the X32 has come a long way since it first came out. They now have a number of variations on it, and smaller portable variations as well, right?
That's correct, yep.
I mean, it looks like a monster machine when you look at the full version of it, and these smaller versions really aren't giving up much functionality, it doesn't seem like.
No, and the other thing that they've done now is they've just come out, of course, as you know, the music group also owns Midas, which is, as Tom would know, is one of the huge names in the big front of house mixers, and Behringer the music group bought them a couple of years ago, and they've taken that technology into the X32. And now this year at NAMM, they introduced the M32, which is the Midas version of the X32, and at a very attractive price point. And anyone that's interested in knowing more about that, Bill Evans posted quite a bit of information on that yesterday on Live to Play's sister network, the Sound Pro Live network, which is splnetwork.com.
I know that, correct me if I'm wrong, Ian, but I'm pretty sure that we have Bill coming up as a panelist on MSI in the next couple of weeks, right?
Shh, don't tell anyone.
Make sure you tell Bill.
Yeah, we should probably tell Bill. You're right.
I'm under instruction to give him an email a couple of days before. So,
okay. Well, I was hoping maybe he would watch this show and then you wouldn't have to.
Well, he's been following that, so he'd be a good one to ask for a little more information. And he's really the guy behind the SPL network, so he's got a lot of information on that really, really high-end professional stuff.
Well, I'm definitely looking forward to reading more about that. One of my weaknesses, at least over the last 4 years, have been mixers. I like trying mixers out. I like playing with them, and, a lot of times they don't do what I want them to do, so I would love to talk with one of these guys at a company and say, okay, here's the kind of mixer I want you to build. Maybe get them to make something I could actually use.
Right.
My weakness is mixers as well as microphones. The more, the better. But I really feel bad for not so much the newbie, but someone who's doing a small mid-level studio. There are just so many choices, and the price ranges and bells and whistles vary from it's what used to take up maybe one web page on a sales site. Now you've got 3, 4, and 5, and then there's the hybrid that you do the FireWire or USB combo, and the converters. Everybody is getting into converters now.
Well, I guess the big question, though, Tom and Robert, and of course Ian, who asked the chat room if everybody was still awake, I guess the big question is really, when it comes down to it, is are any of these mixers at a point that are going to help indie bands out? I mean, are these something that are at a price level where they're attractive to indie bands, Robert?
I would think, especially with the Yamaha MG series, because that's so wide. I mean, you can go from, I think they start at maybe 6 in and outs up to 20 or 24, 20 in and outs. And the same, I think, is true of the Mackie VLZ series. And a mixer with 20 ins on it is probably about, it should be enough for almost any indie band, unless they're going really crazy with mics on the drum kit or something.
Well, there you go. I guess that makes sense. Tom, what do you think? I mean, from an indie band perspective, these mixers, like what we've been talking about, what you're looking at with this Behringer 40, from an indie band perspective.
That thing is the Behringer. I wish I could remember it. It's 40 inputs with inserts, direct outs, 8 buses, EQs, and a price that's just amazing. There are products out there that double both live and in-house as your garage recording studio. It's going to make a difference in the fact that going far back when I was trying to make my bit as an artist, and a guitar and a boombox and a cassette deck was decent enough to at least get you another interview.
Yeah.
Now, if it doesn't sound, I mean, they want almost professional grade quality just to listen.
Yeah. Well, let's talk to Ian about that, who is the practicing musician on the block. Ian, from your perspective, do any of these new fangled systems, these boards, these interfaces that we've been talking about, are they appealing to guys like you who are still out gigging and stuff?
Not really, to be honest. From the point of view of the setup that we have, we go out with a vocal PA. I think we've got a 12 or 16 track mixer, and that's all we need. We use 3 channels mainly for vocals because most of the venues we play aren't big enough to mic up drum kits or amps or anything like that. And if you do go to the bigger venues, they've generally got an in-house system.
All right, well, that makes sense.
Can I ask, the mixer, that's that
the big long thing.
Long flat thing with all the knobs on, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, just clarify.
That's the one.
But no, seriously, when we go out gigging, we generally use 3 or 4 channels at the most. 3 for vocals, maybe 1 for acoustic guitar depending on the gig. Maybe keyboards if they come down. But, no more than 5. So, all these bands going out and spend a lot of money. Effects return's built into the desk. So you've got 2 auxiliary channels for that. A master fader, and then you've got your auxiliaries for your monitors as well.
All right. Well, that makes sense. I mean, had to ask the question, though. What about that big round keyboard, the Arc? Would you guys use that?
Oh, yeah.
Of course.
I'm definitely with Ian.
It on stage.
Definitely with Ian, as far as keeping it minimalistic. I know anytime I go out to do sound for a group and they immediately start bringing in their own mixer and wanting to plug things in, it's like, oh, no. It's just, let's keep it as simple as we can, and it'll sound that much better.
Yep.
Going to the nth degree, I mean, I've played festival gigs to sort of, 400 or 500 people in beer tents and stuff like that, where you set up and the guy sets all the mics up and everything's got a microphone on it that can possibly have a microphone on it. And then you watch him during the gig just go, oh, right, guitars, they're loud on stage, don't need them. Drummer, bloody hell, he's loud, don't need any of that. Maybe a bit of kick drum there, that works that out. Bass player, he's DI'd, but generally his amp's doing a pretty good job. I've got to put a little bit of him in. Vocals, right, they need to go up. And, again, even on the bigger gigs that we've done, you generally see the guy basically riding the vocals. And if anything, you've got a bit of kick drum coming through in the acoustic guitar, maybe a bit of keyboard. But that's all you really need.
That makes sense. Makes sense to me. And, it's just what it is, I guess.
You see, the problem you have with a live setup is that to get the guitars pumped up through the PA speakers, you need the guitarists to keep down on stage.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah?
Big problem.
Guitarists don't like playing at low volumes.
True.
They want it loud on stage, not out front. They want to be able to hear what they're doing to the nth degree, where it's drowning out the drummer and the bass player and the singer at the same time.
And it gets louder as you go on.
Indeed, yeah. They turn up and, fiddle with knobs through in between songs and stuff like that. So it makes the engineer's job very hard anyway. And, you really, again, it's like taking a live recording off of a desk. If you're going to take a live recording, you need the guitarist to turn down even more so you can put more through your mixing desk to get an equal balance on the instruments.
No, it makes perfect
Stage
sense.
volume is absolutely critical, and the one genre that I have always been amazed, two genres, country western and jazz. They keep the
That's three.
stage volume.
Country.
Western is one.
Country, western.
Yeah, it depends on how you look at it, but either way, we're not going to solve that debate today. So I'll tell you one debate we can solve today, though. We can make a decision on the debate on who is going to be our band of the month for the month of January as we sit here on the 12th of February. So what do you guys say we listen to a couple of songs that we had selected as song of the week? We had two songs from January because of the Artist of the Year award and our Panelist of the Year award broadcasts. So we do have a couple of songs to go through today to select an Artist of the Year for January. So what do you say we do that right now?
Let's do it.
Aye, Captain.
Good idea.
All right, well, let's take a listen to our first song on today's broadcast. Here it is, everyone. This is song number 1 on today's Music Scene Investigation Hit List.
Windowsill, looking all over the city still, thinking, drinking it all in. It's so crazy, like little bugs, people in a rush, never enough to just take a few steps back and not be crazy. Oh, so crazy. I'm chilling on top of this perch, I continue my search to find just where I fit and just where I belong. I'm feeling crazy, yeah. So many paths, so many ways to go, many ways to show all this love I got. Yeah. All I got is love, love. Shelter, yeah. I can't get no shelter, yeah. From this dead zone, shelter, yeah. Shelter, yeah. Never enough to know, shining out from my window now, walking all over the city still, thinking, sinking it all in. It's so crazy, well there's signs pointing all over the place, up and down, left to right, and I'm feeling crazy, so crazy. Well, these streets are like riddles, I'm stuck in the middle with a little bit of freedom and a whole lot of crazy. So many paths, so many ways to go, many ways to show all this love I got. All I got is love, love. Shelter, yeah. I can't get no shelter, yeah. Nothing, no shelter, yeah. Shelter, yeah. Told me all you need, a whole lot of love and a little bit of hate. Papa told me all you need, a whole lot of love and a little bit of hate. Papa told me all you need, a whole lot of love and a little bit of hate. Papa told me all you need, guess I'm hanging by a thread. My body's dying slow, give me shelter from my head. People screaming more, but I give them less instead. Cause going with the flow, got a brother feeling dead. Showing up in blue and everybody's wearing red. I'm cutting off my hair and everybody's growing dreads. Just to paint a picture, don't sit down on what I said. Let it marinate the moment that you wake up out of bed. Give me shelter, yeah. I can't get no shelter, yeah. From this, there's no shelter, yeah. Shelter, yeah. Never enough
And that is track 1 from the hit list. It is Shelter by Cousin Affect. And I want to find out what everybody thinks. I'm going to start with Tom as soon as I get that title off the page there. Tommy, what do you think about Shelter and Cousin Affect?
This is one of my favorite tracks for well produced. I mean, I do have problems with some balances and stuff, but nothing, master it and let it loose. It's got a funk groove. I liked it when I first heard it. Interesting production. Sure, there are minor things, entry on the vocal is a little low. There's a lot going on. It's a little crowded. But basically, I mean, that groove is so infectious. Once you get going, you're gone.
That makes sense to me. And Bob, what about you? What do you think on this after hearing it today?
Well, I'm a huge Tower of Power fan. So what can I say? I mean, this song's got a great beat. It's got the funk. It's got some rap that's put in there. That's nice. It's a good danceable song. It's very commercial, and it's got a baritone sax that comes in on the bottom once in a while with that little barump, which you got to have that. I have no idea what the lyrics were. I couldn't understand a thing they were saying, but I'm willing to overlook that and just say it's a great song.
The only lyric I heard while listening to it was, I'm shaving my head or cutting my hair while everybody else is growing dreads.
I thought they said something about jail time, so maybe that
I thought it was share time.
Oh, okay. Maybe they're in jail and his hair's being cut off.
Well, let's go to our resident expert on all things having to do with jail, Flash Gordon. Flash. What do you think, Ian?
Right, let's firstly clarify. Flash RR was Flash Gordon, nothing to do with Flash the Flash, which is DC Comics. End of that one. Right, moving on.
I still like Flash better.
Shelter is what the lyric was.
Indeed.
Not jail or anything like that. But look, this has got a Jason Mraz groove to it in my mind. As Bob was saying, that all the horns, the baritone sax, and everything sort of underlaying. The female backing vocals just really tight in there. Yeah, there's a lot going on. Yes, it's a little bit crowded, and the mix could have a bit more space. But this is a great track, and as Tom said, it's infectious. As soon as that groove grabs you, you're just gone, and you go with it, and you can't help but bob your head. There's that rap break in the middle, really breaks the song up, gives it a different dimension. I love it. I do really like this track. It's probably one of the better tracks we've had on MSI.
All right. Well, I appreciate that, gentlemen. Again, that is Shelter from Cousin Affect. That was from the 5th of January, way back in the beginning of January. Lee Haggerty joined us on the panel at that time from the DC Ruts, and we really had
Ruts
a good...
DC.
Ruts DC. The DC Ruts, the Ruts, is it really a difference?
Yeah, one's got the DC after it, and the other one's got one before it.
I'm just saying, are they different people?
The Ruts DC is the original Ruts band with Lee on guitar.
All right, well, we'll go with that one then.
Yeah.
Correct him. Keep correcting him. Don't let him get away with squat.
That's what he does all the time, Tom. He's always on my back.
I just don't know how I work with these people. Where's my trailer?
I don't know, Mr. Husbands. I don't know, sir. All right.
Hey, produce, where's your limo?
Well, yeah, we'll have your manager take care of all that stuff. All right. We have another track to listen to. Robert, I hope our antics aren't killing you over there.
Just fine with me.
All right.
I get to watch it here on TV. So I look at my static picture while you guys are having a good time. So
There you
Rob,
are.
while you were at Nam, did you see any trailers?
there were a lot of food trucks there this year. Great food trucks.
That'll do me. Anything to get rid of these two.
He's hoping that it floods over there so he can come over here. I don't get that part, but that's what he said. All right, we have one more track to listen to today, and then after we listen to that, we'll get the panel's decision on the band of the month. But first of all, we're going to hear what they think about this track. It was from the 19th of January. Rob Puricelli was on the panel. Let's take a listen to it right now. Here is track number 2 on the hit list. It's called Heartless from a group called Snakehead Ritual. Here it is. Enjoy it, everyone.
Releasing out a venom in my mind, a sedative of hate that I can't use, developing a plot throughout this time, not seeing past the greed, guess I'm the fool. She's coming down on me, and then I start to feel it as it starts to burn. Heartless soul, turning like a wheel, laughing slowly, restless.
And that is Snakehead Ritual and their track called Heartless on the hit list. And want to go over and get everybody's thoughts on the panel. Bob, I'll start with you and find out what you thought first. What do you think about that one?
I liked it. It was a good, solid rock tune. It had a nice drive and guitar part to it. That's always a great thing. And the vocals came through nice. He was a very powerful vocalist. Again, I couldn't follow the lyrics all that well, but that's not that important. I think it was overall a very good song and seemed to me to be very well produced. I don't spend as much time in the studio as Tom and Ian do, but it certainly impressed me, and I thought it had a good drive-in sound to it, as I said, and just good rocker.
Awesome. And Ian, I know you liked it the first time you heard it. What are you thinking about it now that you heard it a second time?
Well, I actually looked into these guys when I was doing the tweets and the emails letting them know that they've won Song of the Week. I actually had a quick look through their back catalogue, and these guys are actually quite amazing. They're a bunch of older chaps than I expected. Put it that way.
Older? You mean older Tommy older or older me older?
Hey, watch.
I'd say sort of 30s to 40s.
Okay, older like you older.
Older, like, yeah, and maybe you're in your 40s, isn't you?
Yeah, something like that.
I'm like that. So, and that I got the impression they were into bands like Clutch and stuff like this when I listened to this track. But their material is actually quite vast. They go from sort of the real sort of the Americana country rock type stuff, in the Skinner-esque, to more the bluesy end of stuff as well. And I watched a load of their stuff live on some radio station, and they actually sound live on this radio station like they sound on their records. They're amazing. Really, really talented bunch of musicians. And I love this track. As I said, for me, it's got reminiscence of Clutch and bands like that. But yeah, fantastic mix-wise, vocal-wise, everything's good.
All right, and Tommy, how about you? You're the resident engineer here. What are your takes?
Well, I've taken up residence here. How's that for a take?
Well, you already have.
Oh, okay. I really like the vocal mix on this. I could make out most of the vocals, and I agree with Bob on. I mean, believe me, songs and lyrics and vocals matter. A lot of times, though, there's a lot of great stuff going on that you can very easily get distracted. This blended very, very well. The guy's, like Ian says, powerful voice, very steady, very strong performance. I think I'm going to commit blasphemy and say we just declare a tie and make them both winners.
Well, I don't know if we can do that. And before we get your take on what you guys think should be the band of the month based upon what you heard, I want to talk to Robert a little bit more about the prize that is going up to the band of the month. I know that Robert and the Live to Play Network, as sponsors of the hit list, love to provide a prize out to the winner. And Robert, what do you have this time around? I know you got some great companies helping you guys out, providing the hit list winner some great prizes.
Well, I know you guys mentioned in the past that these Vocal Pro UHF wireless systems have been very well received as prizes. So let's go with another one of those. I got a UHF 3200 from Vocal Pro. It's a dual channel wireless microphone system. I've used them myself, and for a nice compact wireless system, they seem to do very well. The microphones are strong. They've put a good quality product together there, and for the most part, we've had really good response on those.
Yeah, we've had a lot of people tell us that they really enjoy those microphones, love working with them. So I appreciate that. We appreciate Live to Play Network and Vocal Pro both providing those to our hit list winners. Great stuff. Now, gentlemen, what did you say, Ian?
So thank you.
Absolutely. So, what do you guys think? I'll let you ruminate on the Band of the Month selection and talk amongst yourselves about it. Maybe even get the chat room's opinion as well. What do you think?
They're both really good tracks, aren't they?
But the first one had a Barry sax in it.
Well, it would be better if it had a Barry Manilow.
No, it wouldn't.
That'd be horrible.
Unless the Manilow were played really, really well.
No.
Barry Gibbs?
No. This wouldn't work, would it?
All right, so you got Shelter by Cousin Effect. You have Heartless by Snakehead Ritual. What do you guys think?
How about Shelter by Snakehead Ritual? I think boy, it's a tough one. They are both so good. I'm going to have to go with the first one, I guess. It's a toss. It's a coin toss.
All right, so that would be Shelter by Cousin Effect. Ian, Tom, any thoughts?
Ian, go for it.
No, Tom, go for it.
Ian, go for it.
If it makes you any happier, out in the chat room, they've gone overwhelmingly for Cousin Effect, but of course it's your decision.
Well, I'm going to have to go with number one. It's a really close call. I think both tracks, master and ready to go. I do have one little thing about track one that it was the only thing that I really didn't like. It sounded a little digital to me. There was a little digital gushy going on in there. But, I mean, everything you could ever want from that type of genre was there, including scratches and just the variety of production overall. The other one is straight ahead, still great production. Had that canned guitar in the beginning that I really don't like, but that didn't weigh too heavily. I mean, I really, kept wanting to throw this to Ian to hear his thoughts, but I have to agree with Bob.
All right, so Ian, what do you think?
Well, I'm not going to push against the guys. Obviously, they're both great tracks. I really did enjoy listening to number two. I really did enjoy listening to their other tracks as well when I was listening behind the scenes. But I did say that track number one was probably one of the best tracks we've had on the show. And I'm going to stand by that and go with number one unanimously.
All right, well, it is then unanimous with Cousin Effect being our Band of the Month. In the chat room, Pinky says that if they had a big fuzzed out bass in track number two, it wouldn't have even been a contest. What do you think about that, guys? Is he right?
If it had a big fuzzed out bass and a baritone sax.
How would you fit a
How
baritone?
about a big buzzed out baritone sax?
I'm open to ideas.
I don't know. I just ask the questions here. I don't give the answers. That's what you guys are here
in
for.
answer to how it would have a big fuzzed out bass and a baritone sax, what you'd do is you'd employ a bass player and a baritone sax player and you'd have them play on the same song.
That would work.
It would. All right. Well, Cousin Effect with Shelter is going to be the Band of the Month, as you just heard here on the hit list. And, a great song, a great group of songs this time around. Of course, we're going to be doing this again next month, the second Wednesday of the month. You want to make sure you're here. If you have music you'd like to get in front of the panel in hopes of making the Band of the Month, you can do that by submitting it over at musicsceneinvestigation.com. Hit the submit a button at the top of the page or submit a song at the top of the page. You can't send us buttons, you have to send us songs. I'm sorry. It is the rule. All right.
Under 5 minutes?
Under 5 minutes, that's true. Radio play.
Radio friendly.
It's got to be radio play ready. Robert, what else is going on for you personally? I know you got some things in the works. You want to tell us about them before we leave today?
Not really too much. I mentioned to you guys that we're working on an internet radio station up here to feature finger licks artists, but hopefully next time around I'll have a little more information for you on that. That one's still in the pipeline. And we've got some reviews in the pipeline coming down for Live to Play that we'll be able to tell you a little bit about more next time. But that's about it. It's always a pleasure to join you guys on this show. I look forward to it. And it's really great when we have two fantastic songs like we did today.
Absolutely. We really appreciate it, Robert. Thank you for being here. Ian, Tom, thank you guys as well. Everybody out in the chat room, thanks for being with us today. Again, remember, join us live every Sunday on Music Scene Investigation. Find out how these songs get to the hit list to become Band of the Month, and who knows, maybe even Artist of the Year. You never know where you're going to wind up if you submit it through the lab at MusicSceneInvestigation.com. Thanks for being here, everyone. We're going to play out with Shelter by Cousin Effect.
Love Slugs.
Good night.
Love Slugs, Ian says. He's got a new video out on YouTube just for Valentine's Day. Look it up, Love Slugs. You'll like it, I promise. Here it is, everyone. Thanks for being here.
Bye.
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 Windowsill, looking all over the city still, thinking, drinking it all in. It's so crazy, like little bugs, people in a rush, never enough to just take a few steps back and not be crazy. I'm so crazy. I'm chilling on top of this perch, I continue my search to find just where I fit, just where I belong. I'm feeling crazy, yeah. So many paths, so many ways to go, many ways to show all this love I got. And all I got is love, love. Shelter, yeah. I can't get no shelter, yeah. From this dead zone, shelter, yeah. Shelter, yeah. Never enough. No shedding out from my window now, walking all over the city still, thinking, sinking it all in. It's so crazy. Well, there's signs pointing all over the place, up and down, left to right, and I'm feeling crazy. So crazy. Well, these streets are like riddles. I'm stuck in the middle with a little bit of freedom and a whole lot of crazy. So many paths, so many ways to go, many ways to show all this love I got. All I got is love, shelter, yeah. I can't get no shelter, yeah. Nothing, no shelter, down, yeah. Shelter, yeah. Told me all you need, a whole lot of love and a little bit of greed. Papa told me all you need, a whole lot of love and a little bit of greed. Papa told me all you need, a whole lot of love and a little bit of greed. Papa told me all you need, a whole lot of love and a little bit of greed.
For this metropolis, I'm hanging by a thread. My body's dying slow, give me shelter from my head. People screaming more, but I give them less instead. Cause going with the flow, got a brother feeling dead. Showing up in blue and everybody's wearing red. I'm cutting off my hair and everybody's rolling dreads. Just to paint a picture, don't sit down on what I said. Let it marinate the moment that you wake up out of bed. Give me
shelter, yeah.